All right, I'm so excited now that we can talk to some of our huddle leaders right here. These are the hands and the feet of Jesus Christ in these schools. They're on the front line, and so they're the ones that make this work. I'm like the Santa Claus. Everybody's like, "Hey, way to go, Rex!" It's like, no, man, the elves are making the toys. I just get to deliver them and get the pat on the back. You guys are the hard workers. You're the ones on the front line, and so I'm excited for you to introduce yourself and tell us about what's going on. So if you would just tell us your name, what school you're at, and your role with FCA. Joe, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm Joe Frank. I am a high school social studies teacher at Archbold, and I am one of two huddle leaders along with Laura Bickle at Archbold High School.
All right, Steph, tell us about you.
I'm Steph Mazur, and I teach at Bryan High School. I teach English. I am a huddle leader along with Karen Meister and Kim Bassett, and I work with Jordan Whitler. And I also do some work with the Hicksville huddles.
Good. You got a big team there. That's awesome. Lewis, tell us about yourself.
Hi, Louis Poza. I'm a math teacher and huddle leader along with Rich DeWald at Clinton High School.
Excellent. So Lewis, stay on there with me. Tell me what you enjoy most about FCA.
I just enjoy the fellowship with the kids, building each other up in the name of Christ, and just getting to spend time together. As the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. Also, we have the opportunity to work with high schoolers, seeing them take ownership, leadership of the huddle, plan events, lead prayer, lead devotionals, share their testimony. Very encouraging, and really enjoy it.
Good. Love seeing those kids when they take charge. Isn't that fun? Steph, how about you? What do you enjoy most about FCA?
I think I'll have to echo Louis just a little bit. I mean, obviously, we teach because we love kids, and part of being an FCA huddle leader is being able to work with the kids every week and see them grow and watch our world grow because they're growing.
That's good. Joe, how about you?
Well, I'd have to say that I really enjoy the fact that I get a chance to see these student athletes outside of the classroom. I've said it for many years that it's unfortunate for a lot of the teachers. They don't get a chance to know these kids other than what kind of a student they are in their own class if they don't make connections outside the classroom. And so with me being a huddle coach, I do that. And along with being the varsity basketball coach, it gives me a chance to see these kids in a different way other than in the classroom. And it's certainly a lot of fun to see them just see their faith and how they walk that out on a daily basis, and then get to meet on the Wednesday mornings that we do meet, and just to hear them share what's on their heart. It's a time of encouragement, and it's also a time of growth for me. I've learned a lot from these kids through the years.
It's fun when you, I'm sure as teachers, there's things you see in the classroom that surprise you, but it's even more encouraging when you get that good surprise out of their faith when you're with them at FCA. Now, some of you guys meet in the morning. Some huddles meet during lunch. And so there's obviously different times, and you've got some good moments, but there's always challenges that come with what you do with your huddles. Now, the three of you have some pretty healthy huddles and some good numbers, but not just good numbers, but you're seeing some fruit from your labor. And not all huddles have that. Sometimes huddles struggle with getting kids to show up, or they have smaller numbers, or lacking leadership, or it's just sometimes they face difficult challenges. What are some of the challenges that each of you have faced that have sort of made you sort of gear up, or at least approach ministry differently? Steph, we'll start with you.
Rex, you said that we have healthy huddles, and I know, Brian, we do. We have a very good huddle. The kids come in at 7:30 in the morning, which is early for teens. I think the thing that we struggle with most is, getting those kids to step up and lead. It's very difficult, even for us as adults, to step in front of our peers and make commentary, and for these kids to share something that's as intimate as their faith world and their faith lives. It makes it difficult, but our kids pretty much step up pretty well, and we have kids that lead meetings, and if we don't, either Karen or I will find someone and they'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. So it goes well, but that is the biggest challenge, I think, for us, is just to find kids that are willing and feel confident enough in themselves and their faith to step up and lead the other kids.
Yeah, confidence, that's a key word right there. Lewis, how about you? What challenges do you have at Clinton?
I would say the biggest challenge is time. Our student athletes are typically very involved, many multiple sport athletes involved in honor societies, different types of clubs, extracurriculars through the school. So finding that time to meet. We currently meet on Thursday mornings at 7:10. Very proud of our kids for waking up early before school and just keeping their priorities in order. Not just knowing that their faith and the relationship with Christ is worth getting up early for and investing the time into.
That's good. And that is an early time. I'm so thankful for guys like Eric, who's on staff and covering Lenawee County to visit all the huddles. And I know I've gone up there to visit too. That's early, but I appreciate him being there to assist you and Rich in what you guys do. Joe, how about you? What kind of challenges you face?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a challenge currently, but I guess this just as a word of encouragement to maybe some of those huddle leaders that huddles are not maybe thriving at this point in time to stay the course. The first year that I started, we had 2 kids coming, and I was pretty much caught up in numbers at that point in time, not understanding what this ministry was completely about. But as the years went by, the huddle grew, and my mentality also changed in that it's not really about the numbers, it's about the kids who are there and the kids who are there growing their faith and demonstrating that by their actions. And so, yeah, we're not struggling with that as we once did, but just a word for those maybe who are, as a word of encouragement.
That's good. Let me ask you, what is maybe one of your favorite moments or one of the greatest moments in your huddle, or maybe it was outside the huddle step, you do team times. What you look back and say, man, I remember that moment and that was life-changing. Let's go with you, Joe.
Well, I have a couple, but the one I guess I would share with you tonight is the one that was done last year when our huddle leaders came up with the idea to have our entire huddle go out in the parking lot and greet the kids and faculty as they drove into the parking lot in the morning. And as they got out of their cars and started walking toward the school, there were groups of 2 or 3 SCA huddle guys who would get together and pray with them and ask them what they would like to be prayed for. And I tell you what, it was an awesome sight to see groups of kids throughout that parking lot, not just with students, but with faculty members as well, praying for them. And that I think is probably something that changed the way not just other kids saw FCA, but even our faculty saw the FCA. Kind of wondered what it was about and really maybe question a little bit about, what the kids were doing. Well, they got an answer that morning, and that was last year. We've done it already this year, and it's just an outstanding sight to see a bunch of kids who are praying with other students and faculty members.
It takes a lot of courage, and I remember that. We look around at FCA and we see kids circling after ball games and praying. And I told somebody, I said, 15 years ago that wasn't happening, and now when you look around and you see teams praying after ball games, we say that's a result of FCA. But that can sort of be easy because, oh yeah, that's what we do. It becomes almost routine. But to pray before school as kids are pulling into the parking lot, that takes courage. And I remember last year, you had the students write a letter, sort of like journal that experience. And you sent me the opportunity to read those letters. And I was amazed by what God was doing in the hearts of those kids. It was definitely a great moment. Lewis, how about you? Great moment with FCA.
Yeah, it is hard to pick. But I guess what comes to mind is Operation Christmas Child this year. Eric Steinke really came in and motivated the kids. We have a very competitive group. So just seeing those kids invest time, money, effort into something that is for the less fortunate, is for spreading the gospel of Christ was a lot of fun, really encouraging. just a very, very enjoyable experience initiative for us this year.
Yeah, I love Operation Christmas Child and seeing all the huddles get together, and you guys did rock it out tremendously. Steph, tell us about a great moment.
My favorite as far as the huddle goes in Bryan is our very last huddle is our senior huddle. And we kind of lift the seniors up. We have cards for each senior and all of the kids write in the cards. And we adults serve breakfast. So I bring in my griddle and I do my cinnamon pancakes, and there's fruit and there's bacon and sausage and the whole gamut as far as breakfast. And at the very end, we pray over those seniors as you know, as they get ready to take on the big wide world that they're approaching. And so as a huddle leader, that tradition that we have in Bryan of doing that is probably the best thing that we do. One of the good things, at least.
Yeah, I love that tradition. That's a key word. I'd encourage all the huddles. What tradition have you started, and stick with it and let it grow? And it can be life-changing. I know you guys also, Steph, bring former FCA students as they graduate and move on. They come back every now and then and they share at their huddle, and that's good to hear from them. And I've got my pen here. What's the date for that breakfast? We're all coming. Sounds good, right?
You know, unfortunately, it's kind of up in the air.
I know.
That's what's really kind of sad for these seniors.
Yeah. So which leads me to the reminder to all of our huddles, and I've seen this already with a couple of your huddles and students, and that is the online huddles, kids making videos and huddle leaders challenging the kids to make videos, and Zoom calls and conference calls and Facebook Live. And so, hey, we're continuing to do the ministry. We're not stopped. So thank you for encouraging your students to do that. I'm seeing it happen, and I love it. So here's my last question to all of you. What one thing would you say to the students and the parents listening tonight? How can you encourage them? What would you like to share with them? Joe, how about you?
Yeah, I guess I would just say, obviously, we're in a very trying time right now, one that I know I never experienced in my 59 years here on this earth. But I do know one thing. We worship a God who is a lot more powerful than any virus. And I would just encourage everybody to put their faith and trust in that one true God of the universe, and he will see us through this trying time.
Yeah, thank you. Steph, how about you?
My big thing is, I guess, everything that I write as far as a letter or an email, I always end with peace or love, peace, and laughter. And I want the parents and the kids to know that that's what's out there. I mean, there's always a silver lining in any cloud that we get, and Jesus is the drive for that silver lining. And so I think often, and the kids that I do in team time, they know this, and even in my huddle, it's like, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, because there's always something that we have that we can be happy about and have joy in. And Jesus is really the drive for that joy that we have in our lives.
Oh, good stuff. Thank you, Steph. Lewis, how about you? What would you like to say?
Well, I just appreciate the prayers and support of people that are supporting the Clinton FCA. We have great support from Buckeye Border FCA, Eric Steinke, Lenawee Field Ambassador, and a lot of parents bringing their students in early, praying for us, providing food. So we really appreciate that. We're excited about where Clinton FCA is headed, excited about the future, looking forward to meeting in person again, of course. And I'll just leave with one of my favorite verses. Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. God bless, and go blue.
You know, you're doing great until those last couple of words there. We knew you were
Couldn't help
it. You're going to sneak it in, and that's all right. You know, that's the fun part of our office, the Buckeye Border office. We cover 5 counties in Ohio and 2 in Michigan. And the first camp we ever did at Adrian, at the college campus, we had Buckeye Border, a big banner over top of the football field, and kids would walk around the banner, and they wouldn't walk under it. And I'm like, what's going on? And they pointed up at the top and said, it says Buckeye. It's like, are you kidding me? I'm from Indiana, so I love the rivalry. I think it's a lot of fun, but it has definitely made this ministry enjoyable, the rivalries. But I love it. At the end of the games, they come together, they hold hands, they pray, and they encourage each other. And so, again, Huddle Leaders, thank you so much for being the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. You are out there, and I just want to let you know we're praying for you. And now is the twist of trying to hold classes online. So thank you so much. And I'm going to close out of here, and we're going to continue to move on tonight. So thanks again. God bless you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Rex. See ya.